In this lesson, we're going to take a look at solving equations by factoring. So we've built up all of these skills with factoring polynomials. We're now going to put that into use by solving equations. There are two warm-ups on the first page. The first one, just with numbers. Determine the correct number to make each statement true. I'd like you to take the moment, pause the video, and then when you resume, you'll see the answers. So make sure you pause them, try it on your own first. Resume the video and we'll talk about the question that follows. Take a moment and check your work. Now what happens when a product, two things multiplied together, equals 0? One of those factors that we're multiplying together must also be 0. This is an extremely important fact that we are going to make use of for solving equations. Coming up to the next warm-up, I want you to take this expression, 3x squared plus 12x, and plug in 0 for x and simplify. Plug in -4 for x and simplify. And then in the last box, factor that. So the factoring here in the last box, that's what we've been learning in the previous lessons, how to factor polynomials. So hit that pause button, work these out on your own, and when you resume, we'll talk through them. All right, do you have answers? Let's check them. So x equals 0 means wherever I see x in my expression, I'm going to put 0. So I replace the x with 0, and I simplify. My order of operations says parentheses first, then exponents. So I'll do my exponents first. 0 squared is 0. And then I have multiplication and division from left to right. I only have multiplication here, so I can multiply. 3 times 0, 12 times 0. And now addition and subtraction from left to right. 0 plus 0 is 0. Okay, so let's try it again, this time with -4. So 3x squared plus 12x, and this time instead of x, we're going to put -4. Now exponents, -4 squared, -4 times -4. That's going to give me positive 16 plus 12 times -4. And then we multiply 3 times 16. Pull out those calculators if you need it. No worries. 3 times 16 is 48. 12 times -4 is -48. So when we have this adding of a negative, that's the same thing as subtracting. And 48 minus 48 is 0. Awesome. And then our last step, factor. So I see that I have an x in both terms, x squared and x, so I'm going to take the smaller power in my greatest common factor. And 3 and 12 have a common factor of 3. So my greatest common factor in this expression is 3x. So if I write that out, 3x times x will give me 3x squared. 3x times 4 will give me 12x. And I can take these 3x's and do that reverse distributive property, 3x times x plus 4. We're going to put a tiny little pin in this. We're going to come back to it and talk about these factors and how this last column relates to the first two. The last warm-up we'll do, for each of the following 4 problems, determine what value of x, or values, will make the equation true. So let's do 16 together, and I'll let you pause the video for 17, 18, and 19, and then we'll resume and talk about it. So for 16, x times 3 equals 0. What does x need to be so that x times 3 will give us 0? X needs to be 0 because 0 times 3 will give me 0. Pause that video and see if you can finish out these 3 problems. All right, so 16 we saw x needed to be 0. How about 17? 5 times what will give me 0? Yep, 5 times 0 is going to give me 0. So x needs to be 0. Now 18 and 19 take a different turn. I've got 2 times this thing equals 0. What will make this expression 0? What value of x makes that 0? Because we saw in the other 2 problems, if we multiply a number times 0, we get 0. So here we have 2 times something equals 0. We need that something to be 0. But what's going to make x minus 3 equal to 0? If x equals 3. Right, so let's try it out. 2 times 3 minus 3. 3 minus 3 is 0. There it is. 2 times 0 is 0. And how about 19? We can look at 19 separately. X plus 1 times 0 will give me 0. So what x will make x minus 4 equal to 0? 4. But notice I'm going to plug in that 4 in both places. 4 plus 1, 4 minus 4, I get 0. X minus 4 is my quote constant. What x value will make x plus 1 equal to 0? Negative 1 plus 1 gives me 0. So if I plug in negative 1, negative 1 plus 1 is 0. Negative 1 minus 4 is negative 5. And I get 0 again. So 2 numbers here, both of them give me 0. I have 1 number in 18 and 1 in 17 and 16. Okay, so what does this mean? I'll stop here for this one, and we will dive into these solving equations in part 2.